Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Thirsty Thursday. I have a few announcements I want to do to get things started off here. So, just sit back while I tell a story all about how my life got twisted and turned upside down. I'm just kidding. No, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So I will not be having a Thirsty Thursday. So we can observe the holiday. And I just want to remind everyone, it ain't all about freedom of America. It's not all about Indians and pilgrims getting together and celebrating the great harvest that they have harvested after several months of cold winter and the pilgrims dying by the, what was it, hundreds? How many ships did they send over there anyway? But you know, it's all about being thankful. You can be thankful all you want all day long. But when it comes to being thankful, it's got to come down to the Father. I mean, I'm not just saying this because this is a Thirsty Thursday. But the Father is real. You know, the Father gives to each one of us whom ask. That saying is really true. And I could testify that there's been quite a few times, well, not quite a few, but there's been a few times where I have said my prayers and I've had my prayers answered. Not just me saying my prayers, but people praying for me. And, you know, I have been so blessed with just wonderful people out there, wonderful friends. And by the way, I would like to thank, while we're talking about thanking, I would like to thank all you prayer warriors out there. As a lot of you may or may not know, my grandfather was in a badly way, and he was knocking on heaven's door. Well, I don't know about heaven's door, but he was knocking on death's door for sure. And, you know, he pulled out of it. You know, they said that he had 2 different infections in his blood. He had pneumonia. He had a lot of confusion going on. There's other stuff I won't go too deep into it, but that's the main stuff. And you know, I honestly believe that it was a miracle that the Father answered the prayers and got him up and out of it. There was 2 prayers going on. You know, my grandfather's 91 years old, and he's lived a long, wonderful life, and but can't do anything hardly anymore. And it's a quality of life issue when it comes to that point. So there were 2 prayers going on. There was one where, if it's the Father's will to do so, to get him up and get him better, to heal him. If not, then please don't let him suffer too much. Don't let him suffer too much, and just let him feel that sweet release of death, you know. And I call it the sweet release of death, and I know that sounds a little bit cold to some people. It might. But to me, that's not cold. To me, death is definitely a sweet release out of this useless body. It really is. And if you guys don't think so, then whatever. But, you know, It really truly is, especially if your quality of life is useless or if you're suffering for whatever you're suffering from. But I digress. There was two prayers being made, and apparently, the Lord's not finished with him yet. He's not ready for him to come home yet. So the Father pulled off one great miracle, and I'm very grateful. The whole family's grateful. First of all, the prayer was answered immediately when he was talked into, not coerced, but when somebody said, can I try to be a little persuasive and maybe talk him into going to the hospital? And I thought, oh, this is never going to work. He's never going to agree to it. He's so stubborn. He would rather sit in that chair and die than go to the hospital. But he was persuaded to do so. Persuaded, not coerced. And that was the prayer that was answered. Firstly, to just get him there, to get him the help that he needed to get, and get him, there was other circumstances, like he couldn't walk, so that was another circumstance that was involved. So there was really no way of us getting them there by car. Had to get him there by ambulance. Absolutely, he could not walk. He could not get up out of his chair even. So I was blessed when that prayer had been answered. I was blessed right then and there. But then just when you think the Father has no more surprises left in him, he pulls off a miracle. Well, he didn't pull, Of course the Father can do miracles anytime. But he pulls off the miracle. My grandfather overcame the two very rare. Now, you got to remember, these blood diseases that he had, one of them, which they said is very, very rare, and the other one is virtually unheard of for anyone to have this sort of blood infection. So, absolutely, it was a miracle, and I do believe in miracles. I've always believed in miracles, but it's just it's such a, what's the words I'm looking for here? It's such a confirmation. It's such a confirmation when the Father, when he's answered your prayers, and sometimes it come from the most obscure things. But man, it was just amazing. None of us ever thought that my grandfather was going to get out of that hospital alive. I mean, seriously. So for him to not only come out of it and get out of there alive, but to be able to get up and walk, not on his own. He's still going to need to do rehab, and he needed assistance to get up and walk. But it's just such an awesome thing to see your prayers answered. And I've had it happen maybe once or twice before. And I'm not saying, the Father knows what your needs are before you do. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't ask. Because, this is one of those rare cases where I won't say rare cases, but it's one of those cases where I asked and I received. Now, isn't that just amazing? I think it's amazing confirmation. And I think that, we all have times in our lives where we just don't realize how many of these miracles are done. And we just don't realize that, yes, the Father does answer prayers. He may not answer the obscure ones, like, oh, how am I going to pay my bills? Help me pay my bills, or Man, I need a new roof on my house and stuff like that. Now, those, I'm not saying he doesn't answer those, because some of that stuff is needs and it isn't wants. But he does come through in those ways too, but not like this. This was just an amazing confirmation, and I can't describe the feelings that I have. I mean, it's just so overwhelming. Like, you could feel an overwhelming joy, an overwhelming love. I feel very loved by the Father and so blessed. Just so blessed. I can't even put it into words. You know, often or not, we take things for granted, and we just think that some people are always going to be there, and we think that, and when we just, when miracles do happen, or when our blessings are received to us, we just think it's supposed to be, like it's a thing that we're going to be blessed with something or another, and it's not. And we take so much for granted, you know. Like my house, for example, there's so many problems wrong with it, and there's just so many leaks and cracks and whatnot have you. And I know I've talked about this before, but I cannot take for granted that you actually have a place to live, you have a roof over your head, and you don't live in a cardboard box or, something like that. And for those of you who do live in a cardboard box, by the way, well, prayers to you that you get out of that cardboard box somehow and land yourself a job or something like that, or some things will turn around, things will change for you, but you got to want change, you got to want it to happen. You can't believe the unbelievable power of the Father. You can't take that for granted. Man, just pray, do those prayers. By the way, if you are living in a cardboard box, what the hell are you doing on the internet? Just saying. But anyway, so we will get to the Bible reading, but I want everyone, I said all of that to say, this Thanksgiving, concentrate on those blessings. I want you to really think about all the blessings that you do have, for those of you that are truly blessed, and just think about it. And what I mean by blessed is your basic needs are met. You're nice and warm during the cold months. You're nice and cool during the warm months. You have plenty of food. You're clothed. All your clothes are clean and on your body and so forth and whatnot. Just think about those blessings, because it's the little blessings that lead to the big ones. It doesn't necessarily have to be a huge blessing. Like, I'm blessed with a great big house, or I'm blessed with a wonderful job, or I'm blessed with a wonderful family. That's all good and well, and that's all true. And those are things we do take for granted. But just even down to the smallest blessing, just when was the last time that you sat down and prayed to the Father and thanked the Father for everything that you have, even if it's very little? Maybe you haven't thanked Him for that blanket. Maybe you haven't thanked Him for that new heating system, or maybe you haven't thanked Him for the kind friend that was kind enough to bring you food when you couldn't cook. It's just little tiny things like that. And, I want you to think about that. And I want you to say those blessings. You don't have to say them out loud. It's just like praying. You pray. When you pray, you don't necessarily have to pray out loud. Certainly not around people. But Maybe it's time to do, and I know this sounds a little cheesy, but maybe it's time to go around the table, say, hey, while we're sitting here, and it could be after the meal. It doesn't have to be before the meal. Of course, before the meal, you should really bless the food, or ask for blessings for the food, and be thankful for the food. But I'm saying, sit around, ask each person what they're thankful for, and you never know what kind of answers you're going to get. But anyway, this is Thirsty Thursday, so we do have a Bible reading to get through. I say get through like it's a chore. I don't mean it like it's a chore. I mean like I only have an hour on here, or at least I like to keep these things down to an hour. So when I say get through, I mean to get done. I guess that's the same thing. I don't know. But anyway, we do have a Bible reading to get to. We got to get to it. I'm sure you guys are already sick and tired of hearing me babble on. I've been babbling on long enough. So now let's... we're going to crack open the Bibles. I thought that was the line I plugged in. Come on, man. I'm going to have to go reheat my coffee here in a second. But here we go. Let's turn on that light. Okay. Let's see here. So, there we go. We do that. Now, last week, I have been reading Mathew. And last week, I believe I promised here. Let me turn that light right there. Okay. Last week, I think I said I was going to go into chapter 13 and continue reading Mathew. But I honestly, you know what? Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and do that as promised. I'll start chapter 13. Now, some of this stuff I probably already read, but I'm going to go over it again because there might have been a lot of people that wasn't here. Wait, in fact, it seems like I did read all this, but I'll read it again, and we'll try to get through. Let's see here. We'll try to get through until chapter 14. And maybe most of chapter 14. But as I will mention at the end of this reading, oh man, I hope I didn't tear that page. We will do something different, and there won't be a reading next Thursday. I want you guys to reflect on everything that you're thankful about, and just have a good time. Just chill out with the family and end with the Father. Don't forget to spend time with the Father. And I'm not just saying that to hear myself talk. I'm saying it because it's true. It is true. You got to spend some time. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to preach it. I'm not going to beat it into your heads too much. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It's important. It's very important. So, not only is it important, but it's good. It's good for you. It's very good for you. Maybe you might be stressed out at some point in your life. Maybe you might be experiencing some problems, some issues, or something like that. And just remember, don't just talk to the Father when you have a problem, when no one else can help, when you feel down in the dumps or destined. Don't just talk to him then. I'm sure he would like to hear from you when you are in a good mood too, when you're up and uplifted and filling the Holy Spirit. In fact, I think that's the time he mostly wants to hear from us. But Because who wants to hear all boring and sad and depressing stuff, right? Of course the Father will. The Father will listen to you, no matter what the case may be, because He loves us. He loves each and every one of us. And I know that at this moment, at this time in my life, I am closer to the Father than I've ever been. Amen to that, because thank goodness I woke up when I did, because, man, I'm going to tell you, I've heard it been said, and I'll say it myself. Time is getting short. So, take time with the Father. Okay, so now we get into Matthew. We're going to read Matthew chapter 13. We'll start from there. And like I said, please excuse me if I read some of this last week. But I think it deserves some going over again. Sometimes you might read a passage or a sermon 2 or 3 times, maybe even 20 times. And you know what? It never gets old. It never gets old. And you find stuff out that you might have never known before. So, here we go. Chapter 13. The same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the seaside. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude sat on the shore. And he spoke many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside. Oh, I always thought that was wayside. Wayside, by the wayside. Okay. I don't know. And the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell unto good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he have more audience. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I shall heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth, if not, then cometh the wicked one, the catcheth away that which is sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. I feel like I just read this. Is this a different... Okay. But he that received the seed unto stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution RSF because of the word, by and by he is offended. That seems like most of the problems today is everyone is offended. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the world, that's for sure, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth seed unto the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it. Understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, I said that weird. Beareth, oh boy. Beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some any hundredfold, some 60, some 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field, but while man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then what we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Yeah. You know, it's hard for me to pick weeds out of the garden, because it's like the weeds have these vines that grow around the tomato plants, and every time I try to pick those weeds up, I almost tear my tomato plants up just trying to get the weeds out of there. And let me tell you something, man, those vines are just terrible vines, man. They wrap around the plants, and then they like choke the life out of them, and you know, it's hard to keep weeds out of your garden. It really is. You know, I've tried everything. I've tried the black cloth, putting down the black cloth. I've tried cedar chips. I've tried, you know, I've even tried spray. I'm always afraid to spray the weeds because I'm afraid it will kill the plants as well. Even though it says on the bottle, this will not harm your plants. Well, if it doesn't harm the plants, how the heck does it kill weeds, man? So, anyway, I digress. Let both grow together until the harvest. It's good. Sounds like a good plan to me. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them into bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into the barn. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest amongst herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Another parable spake he unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, I meant to say leaven, I'm sorry, unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened, like leavened bread? Yeah, but this is leavened. Leavened. That isn't that spelled leavened? Leavened? I think it's supposed to be leavened. Well, anyway. All these things excuse me. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude of parables, and without a parable spoke he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, but I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for a second, because I need to take a sip of my coffee. My thumb. Oh, man. Okay. Where was I? He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, of the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. See, you know what, man? I actually understand this. I understand just about every single word of what he's saying here. I get the parable, man. I get the parable. Yeah, this is cool. All right, let's keep reading. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend in them which do inquiringly, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Oh, that sounds horrible. I wouldn't want to live there. I wouldn't want to live in Jersey either, but I digress. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. By the way, that Jersey comment, that was for Stonebender, in case he's watching. So, our Fizzy Pop. I think Fizzy Pop's from Jersey, isn't she? Is she from Jersey or New York? Oh, wait a minute. I don't think Stonebender's from Jersey. I think he's from New York. None of those people will be listening anyway, so, we can talk about them all we want. No, I'm of course I'm kidding. Or am I? Let's just read on. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, which a man hath found, he hiddeth, and for joy therefore goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man speaking goodly pearls, goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of a great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea. See, this is the one they use in Jesus of Nazareth. They cut out all of this and you decide to use this one particular section here of the parable of what he was teaching his disciples and other people, I guess. But this is the one they choose to use in Jesus of Nazareth, and I think it was also quoted in the Passions too. I'm not sure, but I'll have to go back and watch those. I watch those two movies every Easter. It's kind of like a ritual for me. But anyway, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that is cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it is full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Jesus saith unto them, Have you understood all these things? They say unto him, Yea, Lord. Then said he unto them, Therefore every scribe which is instructed into the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things in new and old. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these parables, he departed thence, and when he was coming unto his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, and so much that they were astonished, and said, Whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph, Simon and Judas? Where does Joseph come from? Jose. Is it Jose? No, it's not Jose. I'm sorry. That's silly. Is it Jose? Joses. Why have I not ever heard this name before? That's weird. I know Simon and Judas. Judas? I thought his name was Judah. Judas. Oh, man. I think I need new glasses, people. See, I think the thing is, maybe I need reading glasses. You know what I mean? Like, I have regular glasses that help me see far away, but I think perhaps maybe I need reading glasses at this point. Oh, boy. I don't know. I don't know about me sometimes. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works because of their unbelief. Okay, well, there you have it, folks. There's that. Now, let me take a sip of coffee. Oh man, that's good. That's too good. That's just too good to give up. Oh yeah. So we're going to start chapter 14. And let's see here. Looks like... And we're just going to end it at chapter 14. So we're going to read all of chapter 14. We got a good 10 minutes left, maybe 11 minutes or so. So we're going to go ahead and start chapter 14. And right about 3, 2, 1 now. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus. Oh boy, here we go. And said, and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. For Herod... Oh yeah, I said it right that time. Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herod's sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodes danced before them and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. Well, of course he did. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me John the Baptist's head. Man, I hate that part. In a charger. Huh? She wants his head delivered in a charger? What is that? I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to joke around here. It's that... I know it's not a Dodge Charger. You know. But what is a charger? Is that a jar or something? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be funny. I was when I said Dodge Charger, but is that like a jar? That's kind of gross. But anyway, no, that's not just kind of gross. That's gross, and it's very unsettling and very appalling. That's the word I was looking for. Appalling. I always hated that part in the Jesus of Nazareth movie. They made her seem like a seductress, which I'm sure she was. And I'm sure he had her in a... I guess the term would be ungodly manner. A way. It you know, the Bible basically says that well, I don't know. She gave him pleasantries or whatever. Well, we all know what that means, kind of, in a way. So he's like, I'll give you anything. I'll give you anything. Now, I think all she really did was dance for him. Like, did like a belly dance or something like that. But I don't know. I think, honestly, the way it's worded in the Bible is that she gave herself to him, basically. That's what I was trying to say. But I don't know the whole story, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to sit here and continue to read. And you guys can talk amongst yourselves and decide what exactly that means. But I always hated this part. It's so terrible. I mean, just so awful. Why they have to cut the man's head off? I mean, that's just crazy. So anyway, I will continue reading. Where the heck was I? Oh yeah, the charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake. And them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. Oh boy. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. Whew. Man, that just, I don't know, something about that story just, it's very unsettling. Let's just put it that way. And his head was brought in a charger. Okay, I got to stop you right there, and I got to ask the audience, what exactly is a charger? I mean, I could pause my recording and go and Google it and blah, 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 but, this is a good way to get the audience involved. The chatters, the whatever. So in chat, if you could just tell me what a charger is, it would be greatly appreciated. And when I'm watching this in replay, and I promise I won't cheat and go look it up. I think I did something similar to that last week when I was asking about something like that harness that they put on oxen. I already forgot the... Oh, a yoke. Yeah, last week I was asking about a yoke, and I will admit, I paused the recording, went over to Google, and looked it up. But I did remember that a yoke was also the steering wheel of a plane. I remembered that without having to look it up. But anyway, please tell me what a charger is. I would really like to know. I'm thinking it's like a jar type thing, but anyway. And a charger, and give to the damsel. Oh, she's called that's where we get the word damsel. Okay. She brought it to her mother, and his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart, and when the people had heard therefore, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals. But Jesus said unto them, They need not depart, give ye them to eat. And, this is the loaves and fishes. Cool, I love this miracle. And they say unto him, We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and looking up at heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and were filled. And they looked up at the fragments, and remained 12 baskets full. And they had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get them a ship to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. Contrary. Quite contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit," and they cried out for fear. Well, I could imagine. Man, I could imagine, like, seeing a guy walking on water going, for the very first time, be like, what? What the heck is that? I think the story was that they were all asleep. They were sleeping in the boat, or he was asleep. He was asleep, but not even, or maybe that's when the hurricane came. I don't know. Let me read on. But straightway Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." Oh, here it comes. Okay. And he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. Oh. See, I didn't know that part. So Peter walked on the water. Oh my gosh. That's kind of cool. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?" And when they were come unto the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, "Of a truth, thou art the Son of God." And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the man of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into the country round about, and brought unto him and that were diseased, and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, as many as touched, and were perfectly whole. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop right there at chapter 15. And I got to tell you, well, we won't be back next week, but we might pick up on Matthew chapter 15 the following week after Thanksgiving. But I might start something totally new. I think it's when I might start the birth of Jesus Bible reading. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But I just wanted to say, thanks for stopping by and, hearing the good word. And I'm glad to be with you guys as always. And, one thing, when Jesus was walking across water, and then he had he had Simon walking. Which one was it, Paul or Simon? Simon Peter, when he had him walking across the water, and then he lost his faith and fell, it kind of reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where there's a bridge across to get to the other side of the cavern, but the bridge was invisible. And in order to cross that bridge, he had to have faith. He had to have faith that the bridge would be there. It was more of like a little plank. It was a real skinny plank. And he threw some rocks or something, and you could clearly see the rocks hitting the plank. But he couldn't see it. He had to believe in order to see it. And it seems like to me the moment he threw those rocks, trying to see this thing, is the moment he really didn't have any faith. But then after that, he did believe. He did, he closed his eyes, and it's like, I believe it's there. I believe it's there. I believe it's there. And, then he was able to walk across this skinny little plank. And that kind of is what that story reminds me of. Ye of little faith. Here, let me take a sip of my coffee. Oh, wait, one more. One more. That's so good. I got to take another one. But anyway, yeah, it really reminded me of that scene in The Last Crusade, which The Last Crusade, there's a lot of biblical stuff that's going on there. You know, it just is. So, anyway, as always, I'd like to thank everyone who joined and listened to the reading. And thanks to all the prayer warriors and people that have said prayers for me and my family. We really appreciate it. And, you know, Father blesses and loves each and every one of you. Keep that in mind. And I want everybody to have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And just remember what you're thankful for. And, you know, like I said, if I gave you some inspiration of things that you might say around Thanksgiving, then that's great. And like I said, again, there won't be any reading next week. So I'm signing off now. This is Hebrew77 saying, we'll see you again. Well, not next week. We'll see you again a week from next week after the week. A week from Thanksgiving. How about that? We'll see you all again the week after Thanksgiving. So enjoy yourselves and have a good night, everybody. You know, I need my own theme music at the end of the show where I'm kind of get played out. Maybe that week I'll work on some kind of ending theme song, or maybe just, you know, just let the music play. I'll just shut my mouth, let the music play, show some beautiful pictures, and that'll be it. Oh, it looks like I'm really cutting this thing short this week, but only by, you know, like 3 minutes. So anyway, take care, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Do. Man, this is really short.